Thousands of Indian farmers have been camping out at the border of New Delhi for almost 2 months to protest against new farm laws passed by the Narendra Modi government. Many rounds of negotiations have failed. The farmers refuse to leave until the laws are revoked. We follow 36-year-old Satnam Singh and hundreds of other farmers who are travelling to Delhi from the state of Punjab to join the protest. Singh is leaving behind his family for the first time to make his voice heard by the Indian government. Satnam Singh has called these fields home all his life. He remembers being fascinated by his father's tractor as a 6-year-old, following him to the fields. Soon after, he decided to leave school and farm for a living.
Farming is essential for us. It has been in our blood, our ancestors' trade, for generations now. Farming is a mother to us. We can't leave it.
But now, Singh worries he could lose everything thanks to agriculture reform laws introduced by the Indian government last year. Right now, Singh sells his crop in a government-regulated market, where he is supposed to get a guaranteed floor price. The new laws allow him to sell outside this market to private players. But Singh and other farmers fear that this will eventually lead to the government withdrawing its guaranteed price support.
If these laws are implemented, we'll lose the land. What will become of us then? We'll have to leave farming and look for jobs, and they'll make big storage units, big businesses. We'll lose everything.
And Singh doesn't plan to allow it. He is heading to New Delhi to join thousands who have been protesting at the capital's borders for almost 2 months now. Gurpreet, his 14-year-old son, will look after things while Singh is away. There is plenty to do: tending the buffaloes, watering the wheat crop, sprinkling fertilizers and pesticides.
Keep feeding the calf when I'm away, okay?
Singh says he should get a government-assured price of 1,800 rupees, or about 20 euros, for every 100 kilograms of wheat he sells. He often doesn't get that because of middlemen. He's afraid that in a free market, even that lower price would be impossible to get. Singh plans to be gone for a month.
Keep an eye on everything. It's your responsibility once I leave. Water the fields.
Don't worry, we'll do it.
With one last survey of the farms, it is time for Singh to go build his temporary home on wheels. These tractors are commonly used by farmers to tend to the fields or to transport produce. Now, for the protests, Singh and others like him are welding temporary roof-like structures onto these trolleys, even equipping them with lights and charging points.
We sometimes do this when we travel for fairs and festivals.
So is this like a festival too?
No, this is a protest. This work is permanent, not like for the day-long fairs.
The government has repeatedly told farmers that going to the free market will allow them to get competitive prices. But farmers were not consulted before the laws were passed. They say they don't trust this government because of its perceived closeness to big corporates. Singh's son Gurpreet has already spent 10 days at the protest camp last month. He wishes he could go again, but he has to stay back to attend school and tend to the fields.
Pull it from here.
He does, though, deferentially offer words of wisdom for his father.
My father's a grown-up, so what advice could I offer? Although I'd like to tell him it gets really cold there, so I'd suggest he take a lot of warm clothes. The rest, he'll handle.
And Singh is planning ahead for the cold, with the help of his wife and daughter.
Should I pack this too?
Yes, it's warm. Komal, bring my jacket.
Singh's daughter Komal says she cannot remember her father ever being away for more than a couple of days. She's worried, but also proud.
Have you got your soap and shampoo?
Yes, I have.
The family has one last night together before Singh has to head out to Delhi.
The Farmer Union Committee requests all villagers heading to Delhi to please pack and load your bags and start heading out.
The call to move comes while it is still dark out. Singh grabs a moment to offer a prayer. They have to be on their way at the crack of dawn. Banjinder Kaur has never left her husband's side. Now, she accepts that if the laws are not repealed, he may keep returning to the protests repeatedly for months.
We've never stayed apart. This is the first time that he's leaving me. I really want to go with him, but the kids' schools have opened, so I'll stay back.
Singh says even the guaranteed price offered at the government market right now doesn't cover his costs. He is already in heavy debt, and getting any lesser money would sink the hopes of his family. Even force him to sell off his land. Gurpreet wants to take over the farms one day from his father. Komal will be applying to colleges soon and would like to study engineering in Canada.
I'm very proud that my father is going to be a part of this movement. He has to be. Our land is at stake, which is like a mother to us. The Prime Minister should remember that it is the farmer's grain, the farmer's vote, that has made him what he is.
The farmers have gathered. It is time to be on their way. They will be on the road till midnight tonight and then again for 7 or 8 hours the next day. But spirits are high.
We're not alone. 40 or 50,000 of us are taking a caravan to get these black laws revoked.
We don't care if it takes months or years. We'll stay put until these laws are rolled back.
The caravan will have to keep stopping to refuel, to eat, and to wait for other trolleys.
We'll start here with some 400 or 500 trolleys. More will join along the way. I expect we'll be 1,500 by the time we reach Delhi.
These farmers have to cover over 400 kilometers on slow vehicles meant for the fields. But luckily, there is a lot of help along the way from locals who cannot join the protests themselves.
They support us. They want the protests to run for a long time. They don't want the farmers to worry. They tell us to stay strong. They'll stand with us. Look, free food.
Acts of service are central to Sikhism, and this has been crucial for these protests. Community kitchens serving up free food or langar are everywhere. Sikhism is widely practiced in Punjab.
The farmers here have already been traveling for 7 or 8 hours. They need rest. Everyone isn't comfortable with traveling in a trolley. If they feel sick, we provide a doctor.
There is even free fuel for the caravan at the next station, already paid for by supporters. The encouragement is heartening, but the journey starts taking its toll. It has now been 12 hours since Singh set out.
I feel cold. I'm tired. My back hurts, but we have no option. We have to go.
The rest stop set up by supporters is still 6 hours away. Delhi is still 300 kilometers away. But driving relentlessly, they make it, ahead of schedule. Satnam Singh drove for over 30 hours to register his protest.
I'm exhausted. I'm happy to be in Delhi. We're here to fight.
Singh joins farmers here who were blocked from entering Delhi back in November. So they decided to set up camp right here on an arterial highway. Most have taken turns to go home and tend to their crops. But a steady flow of new arrivals has helped keep spirits high. But this is far from easy. Protesters have braved one of Delhi's coldest winters out in the open. Repeated rounds of negotiation with the government have failed. Dozens of deaths, including suicides, have been reported here. Singh knows this, but it has only added to his determination. The caravan has arrived in Delhi on an auspicious day. It is the festival of Lohri, celebrated across Punjab to mark the winter solstice. It is traditionally a time for family, bonfires, song and dance.
What's left of Lohri for us? The Modi government has brought these black laws and we're stuck here because of them. My kids will celebrate Lohri back home without me, but I'll be burning copies of the black laws. We ceremonially throw food into the fire on Lohri. I'll be throwing these laws.
For Singh and many others here, this is their first Lohri away from home. They will be sure to make it count.